CQDX, CQDX, CQDX. This is Whiskey 5, Sugar Victor. Whiskey 5, Sugar Victor, calling CQDX.
And what it is and that kind of sort of thing, if anybody isn't really familiar with what it is. All right, so the big phrase you'll hear in POTA is that it's contesting that isn't contesting. It is contesting, but it's not contesting in the traditional sense that most hams are used to. And it kind of makes sense as we go on. It's a little bit of a thing that we say in Parts on the Air. So before we get started, you'll hear POTA, you hear Parts on the Air referred to as POTA. That's probably the most common way that it gets talked about. And we'll talk about some common terminology that you'll hear on the air if you're either a hunter or an activator. So firstly, and without probably the biggest, most important part of it is activators. And that is the actual radio operator that's activating the park, otherwise known as an entity. And when you actually activate something, that means that you've made 10 QSOs from within the entity. Does not mean that you can't submit less than 10. It's just that you don't get the credit as a successful activation unless you hit 10. No matter what, even if you just get 2, the hunters will still get their own credit. You'll also see AT&O, or all-time new one, pretty often. And when you see that or hear that, it's probably going to be a pilot, most likely. That's going to be an entity or a park that's never been activated. There's never had anybody inside of it, and there's more than you would think there'd be. So an entity or park, it's going to be a park, a forest, a monument, national wildlife refuge, a wildlife management area. We'll kind of get that into a little bit more in depth later on because it's not quite as broad as you would think it is. Although it is broad at the same time.
So they're adding new spots.
Yeah, they are adding quite a few. So not in Texas. They will not add any more in Texas, but they are in other places. So a hunter, or what is the other word they call them? Hunter, and then seeker, something like that. Anyway, that's 2 different terms. But anyway, it's going to be the people who actually give the contacts to the activator. They're going to be the people at their houses or even other parks. We'll talk about that here in a minute. You'll also see late shift that's operating after midnight UTC. That's another little bit of bragging rights, I guess you could say. There's an award for that if you make so many QSOs or so many activations in late shift. Park to park is going to be contacts between activators. It's another deal you get not necessarily points for, but it goes towards awards. And then park number, all entities are identified with a park number. Everything in the United States is always going to start with a kilo. Canada is going to be Victor Echo, and so on and whatnot. You'll see them on the spot page. You'll see it here in a little bit. There may be some foreign stations, but they all start out with a letter or a combination of letters and then dash instead of numbers. And that's just going to be designators all the way from 0001 all the way up to, I think they're up to like 9,000 and something at this point. It's just so they can keep track of the entities. And spotting is the exact same thing as DXing. There's a spot page, and they pop up on there. POTA.app is the site for Parts on the Air. Absolutely no difference between spotting in POTA and spotting on DX. Same thing. You'll see the frequency, kind of get a little bit of a signal report where the person was that was spotting them, so you can get an idea of how the propagation is going for them to there and from there. So, anything to add, Phil?
Just that I just started spotting, or out. As I'm hunting, I'll hit them on the spot page and give them a, if it was a 5-7 or a 5, whatever the signal report was, into Tango X or Texas, or wherever you're at. And so that, because I'm out there a lot, and it's nice to have, you see at the top of your screen, somebody just spotted you. And when you're at a place that doesn't have internet, you can't really spot yourself. So when somebody else is spotting you, it comes in handy.
It's good for everybody when they see the spotting, because you can get an idea if you can even reach them. Because, if nobody from Texas is spotting this person, chances are propagation is not really in our favor in our part of the country at that time, whole world even. Okay, so Parks on the Air, most of y'all probably have heard of it, and it's just an amateur radio field activity is all it is. You operate a station from within the boundaries of the entity, and typically they're going to be national and state forests, national state parks, national state monuments, as well as WMAs and national wildlife refuges. Now the difference is local and county parks, monuments, and so on are not included. And the only reason why they don't is because of the sheer number of them. Even in our area alone, we probably have maybe 35 entities that are available to Parks in the Air. And if you started adding everything that's owned by the cities and counties and stuff like that, it would just get out of control really fast. And you just end up with too much. So that's why they pretty much keep those out of it. So anyway, like I said, you activate from within it. The idea is just to get contacts. There's not really any points per se. It's just more or less, just to practice, hone your skills, and get outside and operate. Is the whole idea behind it. Yeah. So the history of it is born out of Field Day, national parks in the air, state parks in the air, and special event stations. It was well before I ever came around in this hobby. But the people who participated in that, they decided they wanted to do it every day. And so you end up with Parks in the Air. And again, another saying in POTA is every day is Field Day in Parks in the Air. And it's true. We run on solar, battery, mobile. You're purely 100% in the field. So,
some places have power.
Yeah, right.
Bring up.
Right. It's extremely popular right now. I don't have exact numbers, but I can tell you on any given day, on weekends, there can be a lot of people out there activating, and you will hear some true pile-ups that are equivalent to any DX station. It is still more popular in the United States and Canada, but you'll see countries all over. It's starting to get really active a little bit everywhere. So we kind of talked about it a little bit, but the biggest goal that these guys had whenever they started doing this was to get hams outside, not to be cooped up in a dark shack somewhere, playing on the radio. Get outside and play on the radio. The whole goal is to make at least 10 QSOs. Seems like an easy number, but you'd be surprised sometimes it does not work out. You'll have many failed activations, but it's still a lot of fun to go out there and do it. And again, like I talked about earlier, you still turn them in. It'll still pop up, 100 people credit, all that kind of good stuff. Earlier when we talked about contesting that isn't contesting, it's not contesting in a traditional sense because there's no overall winner of points. It just continues and keeps going on and on and on. You do get awards, but it's more just as a milestone thing to give you something to work towards. That way you're just not out there, meandering and aimlessly talking on the radio, which is fun, but at least it gives you something to work with.
For hunters and activators.
Yes, right. Hunters and activators both can get awards. Some of them are the same, some are a little bit different. It kind of depends on the way it is. The secondary aspect of it is POTA is a really good way to hone your skills. A lot of people have go kits, but they don't really ever get used. They sit inside their shack. They may fire them up a couple times. They may make sure they work, but they've never gotten out there. They've never set them up. They've never tuned an antenna in the field or anything like that. It's a very good hobby to get into for that aspect of it. You can use every bit of it because it is a go kit that we use every time we go out there and do that.
And, the first time I went with Eric and Brian, I brought the kitchen sink, I had a wagon, I had all kinds of stuff, and it was overkill. So the next day that I came out, I lightened my load of going, okay, what do I really need? And I think every time you go, you kind of go, I see people be, and if you like to bring a bunch of big stuff out, you can. So it's up to you. But just simple, to me, works. And figuring out what works, and it's always changing. I'm looking at things going, okay, how can I make this better, simplify, and what's working, what's the signals, so go ahead. Yeah.
All right, so where can you do it? We talked about it a little bit a while ago, but if you go to POTA.app, we'll probably show you here in just a minute. That's the actual website where you can pull up all the entities, you see what they are. And again, like I said earlier, most all national and state parks, national state forests, monuments, and so on are on the list and available, along with wildlife management areas as well as national wildlife refuge like McFadden and Texas Point and so on in our particular area here. Here's the website here. We'll kind of go over it. Right now, Texas has 220. Hang on a second. Okay, so Texas has 220 entities that are available to activate. Some states, obviously, due to their size, some have more, some have less. But go down to the map here so you can kind of see.
I don't know how well it's working, but
It's working. It's just a little slow. They can see it.
going through two systems.
Yeah, that's fine. Not a big deal.
And this also works off your phone.
Yeah.
This app works off your phone, pretty much any phone or computer before you go out.
Oh, down. Well, not registered. Pretty much. I think it's just a little bit of a good way.
You can just zoom in. It'll do the same thing.
Let's pick California at this point. It's not, so they can see what it looks like. Okay. So we'll just pick California just because it's a little bit easier there already. So we'll kind of zoom in a little bit, and it should be popping up.
Recalculate.
I discovered that it would do that, but apparently it's pretty laggy.
Yeah, that's all right.
This usually works faster at home.
Yeah,
It only takes a second.
yeah. It isn't. It isn't very light. It's just Kirk's got it running through, I think, 2 different systems right here, so it's just a little slow. Pop up. About now,
They do it from over here.
you try.
Yeah, I'm trying to learn to switch cameras.
And we're trying to switch cameras, and Phil's going to put up on his. I guess
But it's not running multiple.
Yeah. Okay, there we go.
So,
Now Phil will pull up all there. You go. Now you can see the entities. There's little yellow
So-
dots there.
yeah, so let's say if, there's somewhere out here, like we've been here the first time, you click on it and it'll tell you it's Village Creek State Park K3060, and you can look up more information, and it'll give you a map and who's been there, what the numbers are. It's the same way with, you know, you can go back and say, you know, Walter Humphrey. The Kilo 306, you know, that's how you find out if you're traveling. You can just, you know, go. Here, I'm going to zoom out. Close that out. These places, they're virtually all over. Yeah, they're all over in here too, for whatever reason, because I started in there. Oops.
But that's going to be the entities on there. So we'll probably have to go back and forth. Slide over.
Once you say POTA web, then that's what we've done on the website.
Control.
I'll keep moving around. That's my fault. There we go. Okay. How can we activate it? Yeah, I was moving out of order. That was my fault. Because we just went over that. Yeah, so how you can do this. Every single mode, or I'm sorry, the equipment-wise, we'll kind of talk about. Portable, mobile of any method, shore power, solar power, battery power, it's all okay. There's no rules at all with that. Same thing with how you do it is you can be in a giant motor home with a full legal limit amp, big L, or mountaintop QRP with a little bitty Xiegu G90. That's perfectly fine too, as long as you're within the boundaries of the park. And you'll see all of it. You'll see guys that are running 5 watts, and you'll see guys that have amplifiers inside of a motor home, and they run that as well. You see a little bit of everything. It's just kind of pick your poison kind of deal and go with it.
A guy got me just a few days ago, 5 watts on a mountain, and there was a pileup on me, and I heard him loud. I was blown away. And then he sent me a video of him getting me. He videoed the whole thing. So, yeah, from 5 watts to there's just some huge stations, but it's however you want to do it. The good thing about being an activator, as long as you have a good signal, they'll come after you. And, you dictate how fast or slow you want to go. If you want to rack to with somebody or talk, there's guys that go out there and they talk and they, however you want to do it.
Okay, so we'll talk about logging for a minute. It's not near as convoluted as contest logging, thankfully, because there's no points to calculate. It's extremely easy to log. The only thing you have to have is call sign, time, date, your part number, and the frequency you're on. We do exchange signal reports, but you don't actually have to. Just kind of it helps. That way you get an idea, and also so that you also too. We consider that as a completed contact, because if you get partway through and you don't finish it, it's a no copy that can't count. So we'll go over some different logging software here in just a minute that Phil and I like to use. It's kind of easy, but again, it's kind of up to your choice. Hunters do not submit logs. So if you only want to hunt people off of the spot page, if you want to hunt the activators, you don't have to submit any log whatsoever. The activators are the only people who submit a log.
And you can hunt anywhere. You can be in the parking lot of Walmart or wherever your rig is, you can hunt.
Right. So like I said, the biggest thing to remember is if you do hunt, you can keep a log. You can write it out however you do it. Put it in the QRZ, put it in the logbook of the world. We all do it. That way, you get your worked all states credit. County, if you're a county hunter or grid square hunting or anything like that, you'll get your credit for that stuff, and vice versa. But you don't have to do it as a hunter. That's the beauty of it. The activators do all that for you. The logs get submitted by your region number. It does not matter if you're activating in one land. If you're a 5, you'll submit it to the Region 5 coordinator for POTA. Again, same thing as if you have a vanity call, and let's say you're in 9, but you have a 4 call, because it's a vanity call, you still submit it to whatever your call number is. It doesn't matter where you live or where you're activating. You go by your call. The format, you do have to send it in specifically. You can see the example there. The last line towards the bottom, that's just an example of one of mine. Well, not realistic, it's just kind of numbers I put in. But you can see that's the format that the ADIF file, which we'll talk about a little bit more here in this minute, it has to be saved in that format. If you have anything other than that, it's not the coordinators being ornery or anything.
They just have so many they're doing.
Well, it's actually the software they use that processes it. The software processes it from that method right there, because they just upload it and it knows how, it copies it all in there and it routes it based on that. So it's just not them being difficult. Whether you choose to do paper logs or electronic is totally up to you. You'll see a lot of both. I was strictly paper logging, but you get carpal tunnel and then you got to come home and enter it all. So I got away from that. Phil's used Hamers since he started, and it is a lot easier. We'll talk about that in a minute. But Hamers and N3 FJP are definitely the two most popular, mostly because they're the most reliable at exporting in ADIF format. They're just a little more reliable for the guys that are the coordinators and them keeping track of all this stuff. So they prefer those, but it's obviously whatever you want to do. As long as it's ADIF, they really don't care. But again, it's up to you. I still bring paper with me just because stuff fails. That way at least I can still keep my contacts. But there's absolutely downsides to it. So Phil's going to talk about Hamers now.
So that way your PowerPoint.
No, I'm done with it. Yeah, you can go there and do it now. So I'm going to switch cameras, and Phil's going to show you guys Hamers and how it works. I'll give you one more. There we go.
All right. Hopefully you can see this. This is, you basically open it up, and if you're going to hunt, these over to this side are activations that I've done. But just to show you how to do it, you click on New to the top right, and if you're going to hunt, which we're going to do right now, If you were going to do an activation, just like he said, if we're going to do a club one, it would be, Whiskey 5, Sugar Sugar Victor. And I'm just going to do hunt. Excuse me, hunt. And I'm going to make it POTA, Parks in the Air, because it'll let you do the maps with the lines on it. That's the only real difference about it. And then hit save.
The QSO maps that you'll see posted online a lot.
And this is, I'm setting this up just to hunt. Let's say if you're hunting for home or hunting from, I have one on my phone set up that says mobile hunt, and you can, from your phone, you can do an ADIF. But let's say KB9, excuse me, KB9, VBR, and frequency. You put your frequency on here, your band, your power. It's fairly simple, your mode. And here's the other thing. You want to do an activation or hunt. These are the things you can do it with. CW, AM, FM, all the digital modes, D-Star. You just can't do repeater. So single sideband, your park, well, we're just hunting. So I'm setting this one up. If you were activating, you would put in your park number there. And then it would give you, and I'm going to give you one because it'll show you Kilo 6565. And then it shows immediately, comes up with the grid in that area. Club call, Whiskey 5, Sugar Sugar Victor. I'm going to take this out of here because we're just going to hunt. But let's say I had a contact with him. It brings up his name, his state, his county, QTH, his grid, the time. I've noticed that if you sit pause for a while, you want to refresh that. It comes up with the date, all your information's there, and when you're done talking, you just hit save. And then immediately it comes down here, and you can look on your map, and immediately you have a contact and a map, which is kind of cool. It's very fast. Here's your list, and here's POTA hunting. If you're hunting from the house or wherever you're at, you can pick. Yeah, we'll do that here in a minute. But you can set it to all. I mean, I set mine to single sideband because that's how I kind of roll. And you can put all on here. I think the beam is on 20, so we'll put 20. And then these are the ones that are on there right now, and it'll tell you where they're at, this Washington, the park, and then if you hit this copy button, because let's say you scroll around, you hear them, and you're able to get them, you just hit that copy and all the information comes up here. Their frequency, everything's here. All you have to do is go, well, it was only a 5.5, and change your signal. You talk to them, and we're going to do that. We're going to actually do a contact here in a minute, but then you just save it. And if you want to erase, you just take it out of there.
The other side of Hammers is that it works on a phone. You don't actually have to bring a laptop with you as well. That's the other upside. I use it on my phone. I guess it depends on your eyesight and that sort of thing, is whether you want to use the phone or not. I like using my phone because I don't feel like looking at a laptop.
To me, I use my phone. I like the laptop better. It's easier for me to do it. And
Also works on tablets.
but I do use, it works on tablets. Right. Guys use tablets. They use I use my phone in my truck. Like if I'm just like, when she's shopping, I'll throw an antenna on and I'll sit in Walmart and I'll hunt 4 or 5. Is that better? Maybe. So I'll bring the phone and I'll just boom, and then I'll come back to the house and log them into QRZ or whatever I want to save it on. Okay, so let's say we have 10 and we've activated. It'll show on here everything, and sometimes if you are in a place that it's dead, it won't give you all their information. You just have call sign and signal report. Now we just did Sabine Saturday, and no information. I had no service, had no information. So I had all my contacts. It was like 102. I came back home and I had to go over here and hit look up one or look up all, and then it came back and refreshed everything. All their information went in there. And so when you're done and you got 10 or however many you get, you go out of here and you say, I'm ready to load. And now, I go back and check all my stuff, make sure everything's right, and then export. It'll say where you want to put it. I usually put it on my desktop. You can put it wherever you want. And see this right here, it would be the way Eric was saying. The file name, now for hunting, you don't need to do this for hunting. But if we're activating the park, it would be exactly KI5 OLB with the date at the park. I usually just copy it from the top and then put it in. So it's going to go to your desktop. It's going to go to your desktop, and you send it to your regional guy. You just open up get this. You drop the. Now, those of you who have Windows, I'm sorry, it doesn't work this way probably. But you just send it with the exact same of the file name. I highlight it from Hammers and put it right here. So it's exactly what the file names to the subject. And off to the side, I'll put in today's log. I just type that in, 73, thank you. And then I send it to our regional guy, is K5, and boom, I send it. Within a couple days, he sends me back, it's uploaded for you. And then you can go back to Hammers, and it'll be in the Hammers website. So,
that's pretty much it.
It's simple. Like, we come back, and it don't take long to do your books and send it all in, and then 24 hours, a couple days, it's all done.
Pretty quick. As far as the QSO exchange, it's not difficult. If you're the activator, you'll call CQ Parts on the Air, CQ POTA, whatever, give your call sign, and give your part number. The hunters, they'll respond with their call sign just as you would if you were calling any other DXing or contesting station. The activator, if they hear you, they'll answer you. They're going to give you the signal report into that park, and you'll respond with the signal report, and then that's the end of the QSO. Like Phil was talking a minute ago, as an activator, if you choose to rag chew, that's up to you. I will. It doesn't bother me any. If they want to, I don't mind. But if you got a pile up, obviously you got to kind of get through that, manage it however you choose to do so. It's just kind of your choice there. If you hear a park to park, typically, I guess the way things are done on what I'm trying to look at, you're going to answer them first. The same is going to go for any QRP or mobile stations. Mostly because, as you guys know, they're working at a bigger compromise than somebody at home, typically.
Full power.
Yeah, with full power and so on and whatnot. So you try to get those guys out of the way. And then same thing if you hear DX contacts. They're not uncommon. Like I said, Parts on the Air, activating, and hunting is getting very popular in Europe as well as South America, but especially Europe. There's some guys in Spain that there's no way it's only 1,500 watts. But they will call you pretty often. So if you hear DX, people usually will give them kind of preference as well. But that's really all there is to the QSO exchange. The big thing to remember as an activator is that you're driving that ship. How things go depends on you. You do what you want to do. So if you want to answer people, and just however you can hear them, that's fine too. If you want to give preference, then you can do that as well. You'll hear a lot of guys that are managing a pileup that they'll switch over just like a contesting station will. They'll go by region number. Because believe it or not, they do get that bad. Just depending on where you're at. And if you're in a very desirable park, or a very desirable state, you're going to get hit hard. Especially those guys in Hawaii and Alaska, it is insane whenever they get on the air and try to activate. So, Phil talked about a minute ago, the modes that can be used, any of them. The only thing that doesn't count are land repeaters. Satellite repeaters are perfectly okay because by the nature of them, obviously not so easy to do. But everything else counts. Even DMR, D-Star, and all that stuff counts as long as it's simplex. And that sort of thing. There's one guy, K9ZIE, that when he activates, and he does it pretty often, he goes through a laundry list of digital modes. He goes with stuff, 4. I had to look that up even to see what it was. Apparently it's kind of old. But he does everything you can imagine. And FT8 is very popular. I do a lot of FT8 hunting at night. So we talked about it a little bit ago. We're going to show you the awards. Again, it's not contesting in the traditional sense, but it is contesting. You are trying to get awards. Some people are anyway. Some people don't care. But there's awards for hunters and activators, and again, it's just more of a milestone thing, you know, to give you something to work towards, because otherwise other people may get bored and not really enjoy it too much. So, but we'll go back over and we'll pull it up. Oh, did you already put it in here? Oh, look at that.
That's just a screenshot.
Okay, that's fine. Hopefully it's clear. These are just kind of you get an idea of what you get. These are some of them. There's a whole bunch. If you go to the website, and we'll go pull it up in a second. But these are some activator awards and some hunter awards. And these particular ones right here are based off of how many times you activate or how many times you hunt. And it just, you know, like I said, it goes on both sides of it. But flip back over, and Phil's going to kind of show a list of what's available.
Yeah, but where are the awards that are from other people?
If you go just to my awards and scroll all the way down, it shows all of them. You go up. There you go.
These are mine.
Well, just scroll down, they can see everything that's on there.
Oh.
So that's everything that they give awards for, all that stuff. Right there.
Okay,
Just keep track of it.
So yeah, parks activated, and it tells you where you're at. What do you got? Parks hunted, late shift hunted. See, there's late shift activation, late shift hunted, parks, and then once you get an award, it'll move over. The numbers change for the next award, and the states that you've worked. And man, if you guys see DC and VT, send me a message. So when you get all these, you get an award for getting all state. I think Eric just got his, right? And then I don't remember all the rest of this, but
those are all awards as well. There's different awards. You get awards for the N1CC as activator and hunter, where if you activate or hunt on in the same park on 10 different bands. You got radar awards where you activate so many in a day or a 24-hour period, not necessarily just daylight. I mean, there's a slew of different awards.
Here's and I got a one coming that's I got a few more to get. I think it's 250 or 400. I can't remember, but it's the next one after this, and I was pretty pumped about getting this. And there's one called Repeat Offender. There's an activator repeat offender, and there's a hunter repeat offender.
Right.
And so I don't know. They do a really good job on their awards. You know, I've never printed one out, but I've seen guys have them on their wall. The radar ones. It's a job to get them. So you know you.
So you don't have to. If you're not worried about
have
just wanting to
to.
have fun playing on the radio, you can do that too. So, let's see. Let's see what's going on here. I'll actually mess this up this time. All right. So as far as equipment goes, I brought my stuff in. Phil's got some of his. We'll kind of show you what we use, and you can use whatever you want. It's more about how much room you have and how much stuff you feel like carrying around. Like I said, I keep mine kind of minimalist. Some people will bring everything in the kitchen sink. So, but as far as what is most commonly used is, by far, for people that are running 100 watts, the Yaesu 891 is probably the most popular for that. I mean, without fail. It's HF only, but it is 6 through 160. It does not do VHF, UHF, but to be honest with you, there's not a lot of activations that are purely VHF, UHF anyway. If we know somebody's out, you know, we'll get the contact just to get it, but not many people even try. For the QRP folks, 705s and the G90s are real popular. But again, there's people that they do haul out tabletops. You'll see a lot of 7300s and 991s and stuff like that, so it's not uncommon. It really depends on how much room you have and where you're going to be at. As far as battery power, bio-NOs, of course, they rule the day. There are people who use lead acid, but I mean, we already know the ups and downs of, you know, lead acid versus the lithium iron phosphate batteries. So just kind of up to you. And again, if there's power available, just bring a power supply. I do it all the time. If you hunt in, if you camp in the state parks, most of them have power, or it's available on tent pads, so I don't worry about burning battery power on the state parks. There's no point. The antennas is usually with some variation of a portable vertical. Wolf River coils are extremely popular. You have a lot of guys that use ham sticks. Phil's going to show his. He just has a whip attached to the Wolf River coil base. If I'm going to be set up for a few days, G5 RVs, I use them. Love them or hate them. I've had a lot of contacts with them, much to Big L's chagrin, but it's always fun to harass them about it. But it's only when I'm going to be out there for a few days that I use a little stringable wire because, obviously they're kind of more involved and they're, up there and that kind of sort of thing. So, but real quick, we'll turn the camera around and let Phil talk about his whip and wolf over coil base, and then we'll show some other gear as well.
So, this is basically, I started with a wolf over coil, and the coiler was here, and I had a smaller whip on top. And most of the time we're out, we're on 20, or I am. These legs just screw in. I put a 90 on here. This is a 17, and then we put radials on. You can put 3, 6, 9, however many you want. This is 33 feet. This sets down, and this is a 17-foot, 9-inch whip. Extend it, put the antenna analyzer on it. I run with this, 50 foot of coax to the radio, and we're up.
What'd you set it time? What'd you set it?
Set up time in minutes. It take long to put up. So,
I'm getting the wolf over coil set up now. It's a little more involved, but again, you can be up and going. This one is 6 through 80. Main difference is it has a coil on it, of course, that allows you to be a little more adjustable on the bands. So this is pretty much the extent of setting it up. You have 3 radios on here. Like Phil said, you can run as many as you want. 3 is the minimum. I've done it with 1 because they broke. But that's the wolf over coil. Downside of the wolf over coil is you do have to take the time either to mark the coil so that you get an area of where you need to be for the band you're going to be on. You can just use a tuner, which I've done, or if you want, you can use an analyzer. I use an analyzer personally, but that's the wolf over coil. To give an idea, this is my entire POTA setup here in the bag. I've got VHF, UHF, power supply, RF dipole here for the VHF, UHF, and ICOM 2730 is hitting down here on the side over here. Power supply, that's my 891 with the FC50 tuner attached to it, and 50 feet of RGA. This is my antennalyzer. It's the Nano V&A. It's a Chinese made one, but it works pretty well. Biggest downside of it is it's got a small screen, but the good thing is you can scan as much of a band as you want, the whole thing, or you can go across multiple bands if you want. Just kind of get an idea of this is what we use. You can use whatever you want. But like I said, small footprint's good, and I like to try to bring everything I can with me at one time. And these boxes here are also pretty popular. You've probably seen a lot of these. These has my bio window inside of it. You've got the terminals on top of banana connectors, power poles, normal 12-volt like a vehicle plug, a USB with power meter there. And then this is a charge only for when I have solar set up. I can run the car back into it to charge my bio if I need to.
But it's not much to set up. I mean,
No.
Eric is fast. He's up within, and I'm using this for an antenna analyzer. He's up within what? 5 minutes usually. Yeah.
Okay. Continue on with PowerPoint. Not much more left, guys. Hopefully it's interesting and not too boring. Okay. So as far as popularity, yeah, it is as popular as what we're making it out to be. Pileups aren't uncommon. I've had to shut down many a times and people still calling me just because I was running out of battery power. I could listen, but if I keyed up, it shut my radio off. Just didn't have enough left. Phil's coming up on 4 kilos, which is where you have 1,000 contacts out of an entity. So he's got 4,000 contacts. I think it's out of the Lower Neches Valley over there in Bridge City. Like I said earlier, DX is becoming more and more common. It's not uncommon at all to get Spanish stations. I got one the other day from the Azores. That was and then a guy he's north of the Arctic Circle, way up at the top. He likes to hunt a lot. So it's a lot of fun. And again, we do extend the invitation to you guys. If anybody's interested in tagging along on an activation, feel free to let us know. And even if we don't have one going, if you let us know, I'll gladly plan a day to bring anybody out. You don't have to bring any equipment at all. You're more than welcome to use mine, and we'll get you going.
Same with me.
Yeah, Phil, the same way. We want to bring anybody we can into it because it's a lot of fun. And if there's anybody out there listening, or you know anybody that has licensed, but they don't really know what to do. You know, some people may not necessarily be into rag chewing, or they may not really know what to do with their amateur radio license. It's just something they can do. Just a little bit of just some information stuff. Those are the web links. POTA.app, again, is the main one. ParksOnTheAir.com is the old one. You can still go to it, but it's just going to link you back to the new site. HamRadioGear.com if you want to buy anything related to it. Not necessarily gear-wise. For radios, it's more T-shirts and things like that. But it raises money for the organization. It's, like I said, all purely driven by donations and anything from that site. There are some popular POTA YouTubers if you want to watch them. K8MRD radio stuff. He's a lot of fun to watch because he's funny. He's up in Huntsville, I think, right now. He is in Texas. KB9VBR is in Wisconsin. I actually had a QSO with him the other day. And Ham Radio 2.0 is Jason, what is it, KC5? HF, no, I don't remember. Maybe that's what it is. Anyway, he's up in Grapevine. He's also pretty big. And he's got a group of guys up there that do a lot of POTA. And there's also a very popular and busy POTA group on Facebook that you can kind of get an idea of how things go as well. So, that's pretty much it. Yeah, we're going to turn it over to the other camera, and Phil's going to try to make contact. Hopefully he should be able to. There were pretty good stations on earlier. So let's see if we can find somebody so you can guys see how the QSO works as a hunter. Because that's the easiest thing to do first, because you can just do it from your house right now. I'll just kind of show my sign for the website. So,
You want to do that?
No, go ahead. Go ahead and make your contact. We'll show it to them. That's not too hard to do anyway.
Okay, so we don't have this on here no more, right?
No.
We're going to go to see what's on the radio. Can they see? Alright, yeah. Let's go to 275. And you can't always hear everybody. You want to try this Canada guy? 320.
Thanks for the call. You're a 5 and 6, 56, Arctic Echo 36.
This is the guy activated in British Columbia in Canada. Not sure how far in there.
I'll do club.
Have a great evening. Victor Echo 7, November, Bravo Portable.
If you want to do mine.
Kilo Victor 8, Charlie Foxtrot Romeo, thanks for the call. You're a 5 and 6, 56, Park Victor Echo 3632, QSL. Excellent.
Why is he not on there?
In Illinois. Have a great evening. Thank you. QSL?
Kilo India 5, Oscar Lima Victor.
India 5, Oscar Lima Victor, thanks for the call. You're a 5 and 5, Park Victor Echo 3632, QSL.
Yeah, roger that. You're 5656 in the Tango X-ray.
QSL 56 in the Tango X-ray. Have a great evening.
Yeah, you too. God bless 73.
Tango Whiskey Bravo. Number 9, Uniform Echo.
So,
November 7, Tango Whiskey Bravo, here in your 59 plus into Arizona.
does anybody have another one?
No. Does you have anything to add on? I mean, you see that's the QSO exchange when you're hunting, and you see that you can hear the activator side of it. The difference is he logs it. And,
Oh, and then-
here's your credit.
I would go to, I know you can't see me, but I'm going to hit repost. And I'm going to say, what did I say, 57? What did I say, 57? I don't remember. Into Texas. And respot him. Bigger.
How do we get back on this game? Is it USB 1?
It's very long.
There we go. Okay. Here, show him again, Phil. Phil was showing how to respot someone, and that's what he just did.
Let's get this guy.
You just show him again.
Just show him again.
Spot,
You just hit the spot page. All the information comes up. Your call sign, and just 57 into Texas. Hit spot, and this will help go out. Everybody will be reading this.
Get an idea how well they're working. The one thing we forgot to mention is that if you do want to hunt, you don't have to. You don't have to sign up for an account. It's not necessarily required, but
To get credit.
Yeah, to get your credit, you'll have to. It's not hard. If you just go to the POTA app, let me do that. If you go to the POTA app, I'll log Phil out here. It's very self-explanatory. But you just go to sign up here. I'll say that. And
I'll never be able to get back in.
just keep on. But you can actually go with your Google account. Well, there's logging with Phil, but anyway, if you need to sign up, it's not hard. It's like any other website you sign up for, and Phil logged in with his Google account, and you can see you go through here and agree to that, you'll agree to that, and then agree to that, and then you'll acknowledge the resources, and then you put your sign up, and they look at it, they approve you, and you get signed up, and then you're good to go. And when you go back, you can go into your account, you can keep track. There's a logbook on there that as people upload your contacts from their activations, you can see them. You can keep track of how close you are to awards. And then when you spot, it'll attach your call sign to it as spotting, and so on. But again, you can hunt and give them contacts and not have to sign up. You don't have to do it. But if you, like I said, you want to keep track of it to get your awards and stuff, then you can. It just kind of depends on whatever you want to do. Some people aren't so concerned about it, and other people are. Is there anything else? I think we got it. Just most everything.
Yeah, does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, any questions at all? Okay, all right. Well, I guess
Now-
either we mourn the death or we explain everything.
We're talking, and we're going to try to potentially do a activation as a group, as a club. Anybody's welcome. November 6th is the date we're looking at, although we understand that's a opening deer season day and a couple things, but we're just looking for the right park locally here that we might want to do this to, and we'll be letting everybody know. So you're welcome to come out and see it live, how it works. Bring your laptop. You can help you get set up or whatever you might want to do. We'd be glad to help.
Absolutely. And if y'all have any questions, feel free to get with any of us. And again, if you want to go try an activation, let us know. I don't mind taking off from work. I can do it on my weekends off, and I'll take anybody out so that I can see how it's done and help them along with it. So just let us know. We'll be glad to help.
I'll send out an email notice with contact information for Eric and Philip so that you can have any questions. You can contact them. And they've been doing it for a while, and the enthusiasm is really infectious when they get to talking and doing this. So we're going to look at doing some more stuff, maybe a little bit more in-depth, maybe on the logging software or any equipment. Just if you have suggestions or something like that you might like to learn about, just tell one of them and we'll put something together. We'll just kind of get something started here, get an idea that they've enjoyed so much and want to spread it to everybody else. So any questions, anybody else? Did everybody hear okay? Some of the graphics look fuzzy on our end, so I'm not sure. This method we tried tonight may not be the best, but we're working out.
Everybody could hear?
I can hear you fine.
I can hear you fine.
Okay.
Did were the graphics fuzzy looking on the screen, the presentation?
Mine was pretty much out of focus almost.
That's kind of what it's looking like here, so I'm curious about that. It's this virtual camera and virtual this, and there's a lot of stuff that wasn't too virtuous, looked like. So anyway, yeah, we'll work on that as we learn how to do this, because we're working up to potentially live streaming one of these events or something. So.
Well, I use this Zoom at work, and we use like 5 cameras. We use another program called OBS with Zoom, and it clears everything up. And I'll get that information if you want.
Yeah, because that's what we're using actually is OBS tonight. But I got about 24 hours worth of experience with it, so here we are.
Just kind of curious.
So anyway,
You might want to post that PowerPoint online.
all right. So
I'll see if we could mess with it and kind of clear it
yeah,
out.
I don't know what that's happening.
Yeah.
Okay. No questions, anybody? We appreciate everybody
Thanks for your
stopping
time.
by and to listen.
Thanks for putting it on. It's really good.
All right.
Thank you.